When things go according to plan, no one panics, even if the plan is terrible. This dialogue was said from the language of Joker, one of the most hated characters. It can be generalized for great crimes in human history. Countless people in the history have used their intelligence in the way of terrible crimes, fraud, murder, etc. We have tried to select people with different histories and different crimes from among a large number of criminals, and we will inform you about the strange aspects of these people's lives. Theodore Robert or Ted Bundy. Bundy was born with the name of Robert Cowell on November 24, 1946 in Burlington, Vermont. Ted, with an IQ of 136, was one of the smartest and most charismatic killers who, contrary to his usual appearance, was very dangerous and psychotic. He attacked dozens of women in the 1970s. He kidnapped many young women and raped them, also killed a lot of them. It was possible that his crimes started even before this date. He confessed to murdering more than 30 young women between 1974 and 1978, shortly before his execution. 150 murders have been attributed to him. Before his final arrest in Florida in 1978, Bundy committed his last 3 murders. Convicted of 3 murders in Florida, Bundy was sentenced to death 3 times. Bundy was unusually disciplined and calculated. He was able to use his extensive knowledge of the law enforcement process to avoid detection and arrest for several years. Finally, in January 1989, he was executed by electric chair in Rayford, Florida. D.B. Cooper. It was the name used in the media to refer to the unidentified hijacker of a Boeing 727 on the afternoon of Wednesday, November 24, 1971. The hijacker bought his ticket under the name of Dan Cooper. The hijacking took place in the northwest of the United States between Portland and Seattle. After receiving $200,000, Cooper parachuted out of the plane, and after that, there was no information about his fate. A small portion of the hijacked money was found by a boy on the shore of the Columbia River in the February 1980. At the end, this cue did not help to solve the mystery, and most of this money was still not found. This case was the only unsolved hijacking case in the history of commercial aviation. The FBI officially suspended the investigation in July 2016, but it still welcomes receiving and investigating about Cooper. Zodiac. The Zodiac Killer is the nickname of a Northern Californian serial killer who committed serial murders between the 1960s and the early 1970s. Zodiac killed his victims between December 1968 and October 1969. Most of his victims were young people and women between 16 and 29 years old. This killer chose the name Zodiac based on the strange and sarcastic letters he sent to the press in the San Francisco Bay Area. The Zodiac Killer wrote more than 20 letters to communicate with the police, 4 of which were coded with medieval ciphers, symbols, and signs. Among these 4 coded letters, only 2 have been completely decoded. The second letter was also deciphered in December 2020. Zodiac wrote his encoded letters with many misspellings and coded them with the same carelessness. The detectives believe this order has caused the long decoding and many failures in this way. In one of his letters to the press, the Zodiac Killer claimed to have killed 37 people. However, researchers only confirmed 7 victims, and 2 of them had survived. Ultimately, the identity of the Zodiac was never identified and revealed, but Linda Lawfery, a retired policewoman, claimed in her 2012 book that Zodiac is still alive. Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria. He was a Colombian cocaine trafficker. He is known as the richest smuggler in human history who has a fortune of up to $30 billion. Pablo Escobar, with many nicknames, is one of the most famous figures in the modern history of Colombia, who became the country's nightmare in the 80s and 90s. Pablo's job was to trade Colombian cocaine to America and Europe, but he was a popular figure by providing employment for the people and building houses for them, and establishing factories and entertainments and sports for the people, especially in his hometown of Medellin. Eventually, with his gang disbanded and his men killed, Escobar was killed in a shootout by the Colombian police and army in Colombia in 1993. Hans van Meegeren. He was a Dutch painter. Meegeren is considered one of the most intelligent art forgers of the 20th century. Meegeren copied and sold the works of the greats of the Dutch Golden Age. Hermann Göring, one of the leaders of the Nazi Party of Germany, had bought some of Meegeren's works. After Germany's defeat in the World War, Meegeren was arrested for the crime of selling Dutch cultural heritage. He was accused of treason. At the end, Meegeren was sentenced to 1 year in prison for forging works of art. Victor Lustig. Born on January 4, 1890, he was a highly skilled con artist from Austria-Hungary who undertook a criminal career that involved conducting scams across Europe and the United States during the early 20th century. Lustig is widely regarded as one of the most notorious con artists of his time and is infamous for being the man who sold the Eiffel Tower twice. After realizing his betrayal, Lustig's mistress, Billy May, decided to take revenge and help the police to arrest Victor. On 10th May 1935, Lustig was arrested in New York and charged with counterfeiting. The day before his trial, Lustig managed to escape from the Federal House of Detention in New York City by faking illness and using a specially made rope to climb out of the building, but he was recaptured 27 days later in Pittsburgh. Lustig pleaded guilty at his trial and was sentenced to 15 years in prison on Alcatraz Island, California, for his original charge, with a further 5 years for his prison escape. Edmund Emil Kemper III. He was born on December 18, 1948 in Burbank, California. According to reports, he has an IQ of 145. Edmund Kemper is an American serial killer and death seeker who has been sentenced to life imprisonment for the crime of 10 murders. On August 27, 1964, Kemper killed his grandmother and grandfather and had waited for the police to arrive. On December 18, 1969, Kemper was released at the age of 21. In 1972 and 1973, he killed 8 people. Edmund was arrested on April 24, 1973, and was kept in a mental institution in California. Can we have the intelligence of these criminals? Why didn't these people use their intelligence in a positive way? Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also share your comments with us.